welcome to the March or April garden jobs. This is a continuation of the early spring job video. So there's still a lot of work in the garden to prepare the growing season ahead. Sowing seeds, pruning plants, fertilizing. Here's a little peek of all the jobs that I've done in March to prepare the garden. Let's get started. If you haven't done so already, March, April and May are a great time to plant your summer and autumnal flowering bulbs like dahlias, lilies, begonias. I have a dedicated video on the subject. I'll pop it here and in the description below. In that video, I was pre-sprouting some ranunculus, so it's time to check on them now and see how they did. Look at all of this. So I had two varieties, Snow White, that is white, and Candy Pink. Who's pink? That's pink. You can see so many little tips. Ended up separating them in two trays. So here the Snow White and here the Candy Pink. I'm so excited. Last year my ranunculus froze. I had planted them directly. So I'm really pleased to see at least, if not blooms, at least signs of life this year is a really good triumph. So one of the first jobs that you can start doing from mid-March is pruning your hydrangeas. The reason why we want to wait is because then blooms, if you leave them up over winter, protect the crown of the plants and the hydrangea has a better chance to overwinter that way. I have a hydrangea paniculata, just the one, that I've been able to fit in the front garden. Hydrangea paniculatas bloom on new wood, that means grows from this season. So it's okay to cut away the old wood. You typically do that to a strong pair of buds. This is why it's also good to wait a little bit longer in the season so that you can see those green shoots emerging. For the hydrangeas that bloom on old wood, that means the growth from the previous season, a little bit like lilacs. You typically either prune straight after flowering or you can simply deadhead the flower. This is because if you cut it down now, you will lose the blooms for this year. So the safe way is just to deadhead the spent flowers on the literally first set of bud that you see, and this way, regardless of the type of hydrangea that you have, you've been able to do a correct pruning. There's nothing much to it really, a pair of sharp secateurs, and similar as to any other plant pruning really, you want to remove any weak growths that won't be able to support the blooming weight, any stems that are crossing, anything that's dead, anything that's damaged, and the point again is I have a nice goblet shape with strong branches outward facing and try to cut them all at the same height if possible. I was also able to repot my Amaryllis. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen all the gorgeous varieties that I've been able to grow this year. I am obsessed with those bulbs. They're so pretty and they provide weeks of color when Lilies is in bloom. If you want to keep your bulbs from year to year, it's possible to do that. Once they're done flowering, of course, you cut off the old bloom stalk and you keep them watered regularly. And you can also pot them on and treat them as houseplants. The repotting process is really simple. I'm just potting them on. Because I had them in gorgeous arrangements together, I'm just potting each individual bulb on its own so that it has its own growing space. I'm choosing a pot that's really small because Amaryllis like to be root bound. I still need to apply fertilizer though. Just keep them well watered and in a sunny spot. Just wanted to show you quickly that some of the bulbs have produced offsets. So all you do is just gently remove it. You can pot this one on and in a few years it will grow and produce its own flowers. And the little offset. All you have to do is gently tug on it. For us here, we don't get a lot of freezing temperatures, so they're already outside. You may be able to spot them there. Keep them in a sunny area though, because they will need sun to recharge batteries. I'll link a playlist to Amaryllis care. I've published a bunch of videos in the past, so check that out if you're interested to know more. Just a couple of weeks ago, actually, I've been able to add bare root roses to the garden. again. I know. Where is there space? But I did find space. I added 2 new climbing roses to the garden, Claire Austin, gorgeous creamy white blooms, and also the generous gardener with beautiful smaller pink pale blooms. I think they're going to be absolutely glorious. I cannot wait to see how these do. There's still time for you to add bare root roses in the garden, but also potted roses. You can pretty much add these anytime unless you're in drought conditions or like really waterlogged conditions. So it's never too late. From mid-March onwards, when you can start to see a lot of new growth on plants, it's a good time to apply your fertilizer for spring. And you can do several applications, of course, throughout the year. I typically fertilize in spring and then at the end of the summer. So this year I got the specialized rose and shrub Miracle Grow continuous plant food release. I got this one because it says that extra magnesium for greener leaves, and last year I noticed that some of my roses had yellowing leaves, so I want to prevent that and use this extra magnesium fertilizer. So because this one is just planted, it doesn't need a compost change on the top. What I'm going to do though is feed it. You can see there's already a lot of new growth on this plant, and I'm just going to scoot away the bark. Actually, I probably need to apply a little bit more. It says here, for roses and shrubs in containers, sprinkle 25 grams of granules. Lightly work into the compost. And it says, as a guide, 25 grams is about a handful. So let's go for a handful. And then I'm just sprinkling it around the plant. Then I'm just popping back the bark. Super easy. Hopefully in no time it will look like these. Scratching away gently the first few centimeters of compost. These are the fertilizers I'm going to use in the garden today. For my evergreen plants, I've been using this one from Empathy. It's really good. I've had good result with this and really good strong growth. So I'm going to use this on all the evergreens in the garden. The Tuya, the boxwoods, my camellia, and my little spruce tree there. And also what I was using last year is this all-purpose Miracle Grow plant food. It worked really well. I really like that it's a continuous release fertilizer because you apply it once and then you have results that last. Here it says up to 6 months. So that's really good. You don't have to do many applications. It's one big job in the spring and then a little bit more at the end of the summer and you're good to go. As opposed to a water-soluble fertilizer that you would have to apply every week. That's a lot more work. And I also got this fish blooded bone. That sounds a bit gruesome. So I think I'm going to apply this for my tulips and my daffodil pots. Even though all the energy that they need is in the bulb for this year, it will still help them recharge batteries for next year and continue to grow. For my little evergreen Tuya, the principle is the same. I'm going to, oh wow. You can see how the soil shifted on there. I don't know if you can see, there's a huge gap. don't fertilize sedums. They really thrive on poor soil. So whatever you do, don't do anything to the sedums. This one is going to be interesting. It's a lilac that has been growing here for 2 years now. And because it wants to become a large tree, I'm thinking it probably already pretty much outgrew its pot. So what I'm going to do is try to take it out and create as little damage as possible because it's already budded up, and ideally I should have done that before it broke dormancy. Take it out of the pot, try to remove as much of the old soil as possible, replace it with fresh, and repot basically to give it a new lease of life. So same process, I'm starting by removing the old layer of bark, and actually this one broke down pretty well, so probably needs a brand new fresh layer. This is really heavy. Okay. So you can see here, we have a lot of really nice growth. Oh my god. Oh, what is this? It looks like some kind of like huge larvae of some kind. I need to get rid of those. Can you see all those slugs and babies? So this ended up being really heavy, so I had a little bit of help. So I ended up brushing off the old soil off of the root ball. You can see now, we can see a lot of the root ball. I actually found a bunch of gladiolus that I probably underplanted the lilac, I didn't remember. You know, again, small garden, small space. So I need to find another pot for those. Two handfuls here. Just going to repeat that process with most of the containers that I have. If you have a much smaller container and a plant that has stayed really long in it, it may be beneficial to take it out, remove a bit of the old soil, pop new soil in, just so that you keep it happy. I also planted a brand new type of bulb to me, Tritalea laxa, and I seeded some seeds on the top of the soil to make its weight, and we have a lot of good germination. So I sowed some spinach, some salads, and some poppies. And I think this must be the salad, and those must be the poppies, the Californian poppies. Can you see those? I also have some more begonias in pink and white, cascade pink and fragrant angelique. I'm really excited to try those. I love begonias. They're so summer and they're perfect for a more shaded area of the garden as a like shade to part shade. I had a pink variety last year. It's really gorgeous. I'm really glad to be adding some more. I love begonias. I grow them every year and I store them from year to year. So here I have a little bag. Those bags to keep the produce fresh, I find them super convenient to store bulbs of any kind in the garden because they're well packaged and there's a lot of airflow still. So just as soon as the first frost hits, you cut off the foliage and then you can lift the bulb and store it in a cool, dark, dry place. So I have a couple of different varieties from last year, Florence, and also some mixes in apricot and pink. Yes, I have a color theme. They gave a really gorgeous show last year and I really want more of those this year in my garden. You could use individual pots also for this. You don't have to use a tray. I've done that in a previous year. It works really well on a kitchen windowsill as well. You can put them in smaller pots and they will start germinating in no time. I'll give you a quick update of what's growing in the cold frame. I had to resow a couple of things because I had slugs eat a lot of my seedlings, and just also some things didn't germinate. That's okay. This is why you don't sow all the seeds at once, just in case something goes wrong. You have to be ready to resow. So this is the mini cold frame. Such a great asset in the garden. Sweet peas are doing really good. I noticed the other day we have a few geraniums that have germinated, so that's really nice. Then the Cosmo resowing, it looks like the Cosmo resowing went well. This is what I meant. Can you see this? Well, I have a lot of algae, I need to add perlite to everything. But look at this, this has been clearly snacked on. And that one also was fine yesterday, just under attack. Then we have Aquilegia petticoat, that's doing well. The end of March would also be a great time to start potting on dahlias if you want early blooms. I'm not quite ready to do that yet, but I'll be tackling that job pretty soon. March is also a great time to finish the jobs from the previous months if you haven't gotten to them already. And of course you can do all those jobs in April as well. It really depends of your climate. Thanks for watching this video. Again, this was not an exhaustive list of everything you have to do in the garden in March, but what I've been able to tackle. I hope that helps you in your own garden preparations, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Sushi! Sushi, get away from there!